Hey there, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. If it's your first time here, welcome. Otherwise, let's get right into it. Clash Royale gameplay from Galadeck Gaming, and the Galadeck is born. Now, you guys may know that I usually just copy other decks, and this will mark the first time that I've put together a deck myself from scratch with cards that I wanted to use to try to counter the decks that I am seeing most frequently, and we will get into that in a moment. Here is the deck right here. Now, obviously, I'm not the first player to use these 8 cards in combination, but they are working out well for me at this maxed out level, and they're working well for me at my level 9 account. We will show a battle with this same deck on that account a little bit later in this episode, but let's get into this right here. Now again, the deck is countering, I am seeing the Royal Giant probably the most frequently of any deck. The Royal Giant, most common, and then of course the Hog Rider. This deck, I will admit, is a little bit weak against the Hog Rider. The Inferno Tower at 5 Elixir, not a great trade against a Hog, but it does work out well against the Giant Balloon, and I am seeing more and more of this deck, especially ever since I was using it for a while. Kind of suspicious. But again, I do like this deck against the Giant Balloon combination, against the Royal Giant, and against Golem-based decks. And if you take all of those in combination, it does comprise about 2/3 or so of all of the decks that I am seeing. And if you take a look at it statistically and say, well, can I win maybe 1/3 of the battles that I face with Hog Riders and then win the majority of the rest of the battles, then this deck is going to work out. Even though, again, I'm going to be weaker against Hog Riders with this deck, obviously there's no way to predict what deck you will be facing each and every battle. So I'm just trying to go with what I'm seeing in the area, and I would definitely say that's a good idea for any player at any level. If you take a look at the cards you're seeing over and over and over again, there should usually be a trend, and you can probably tailor your deck to counter that specific trend. Now here you saw me lightning that Elixir Collector. It is kind of an expensive trade, the 6 Elixir Lightning for the 5 Elixir Collector. But I feel like if you're not bringing a collector of your own, it's necessary to keep their pumping under control. And that usually works out because I oftentimes will find that my opponent will drop the Elixir Collector behind the tower that I am working on right here. The Hog finally gets through on the left-hand side, getting to that tower with the Zap spell, 1 extra shot, and we just about have that tower down. And we've preserved our left tower, again distracting units with a single Elixir Skeletons. Love that card, one of my favorite cards, and at only 1 Elixir, such a great value in so many different ways. So one more assault on that left tower. The Hog Rider is going to get in there. The Barbarians cannot prevent the 1 shot. That's all I needed from that Hog Rider to get that tower down. He's got time for 1 more push. Here it comes with the Giant and the Balloon, a Zap spell. That helps finish off the Barbs. That makes sure that the Inferno locks onto that Giant, and he's just not going to have time to get that Balloon to the tower and match over with a 1 crown win with the Galadeck. All right, let's take a look at another replay. This time I am facing YOLO Bombs, and this is the Hog Rider deck. Now, this is going to turn out maybe a little better than the average outcome when I am facing a Hog Rider deck. The Hog Rider Mini P.E.K.K.A, and obviously we've got that Inferno Tower, not a great trade against the Hog Rider. Poison Spell, a good move here as well, but the Hog Rider is countered. I go for a risky move on the right-hand side with the Minion Horde, and the counter Zap stalls the tower. I get a few shots in, and about 600 hit points come off. I do like that move. I feel like I might have been a little bit late with the Zap spell there, about a half a second earlier, and it might have meant about 300 more hit points off that tower. But that is one of the things about this game. It comes down to milliseconds, where you deploy just by 1 tile, when you deploy by tenths of seconds or less, makes a huge difference here. Again, I am facing the Hog Rider moving in. This time the Hog does indeed get to the tower. The poison spell counters my counter, and I'm going to take a lot of damage on that left lane tower. Finally, the solo Stabby Goblin gets in there, but my Hog Rider and the Minion Horde are going to push down the right-hand side. The Hog gets to the tower. The cannon deployed just a split second too late, like I was just talking about. Tower goes down, and a very healthy Hog and minions move on to the King's Tower. That is severe damage taking place to the King's Tower. At this point, I had thought that maybe my opponent had given up, but it looks like he's got one last push. He's going to go ahead and try to take down this left tower, but that King's Tower is so badly damaged. I'm just waiting for him to go for it, drop the lightning spell down there to add insult to injury. There he goes, Mini P.E.K.K.A and Hog Rider. I'm ignoring it, pushing on, of course, for the 3 crown. No way he's going to stop me here. A race to the King's Tower, and I am going to win it with the poison spell not slowing me down. Game over, 3 crowns to 1. So purely from a mathematical standpoint, if I were to lose every time I faced a hog and win against everybody else, then of course I'd always be gaining in trophies. Now, that isn't necessarily always true. Another deck that I've had a little bit of problem with has been the minor Mini P.E.K.K.A deck. But here, we are going to be facing the Golem-based deck. And again, I'm not winning every single battle, say, against Royal Giants and Golems. Well, because some players, let's just be honest, are better at protecting those cards and using those cards than others. It is just sometimes a matter of getting in some small units in front of or accompanying your Golem or your Royal Giant. If, say, a group of minions gets in there, they are going to distract that Inferno Tower long enough that an Inferno is not going to counter the Golem or the Royal Giant very well, and I'm in big trouble. So it really harkens back to Clash of Clans and how you're counting on the other player to make mistakes. It seems like, at least for me anyway, I make mistakes in pretty much every single game, and I'm counting on my opponent to make little mistakes as well, and it's a matter of capitalizing on those mistakes to make sure that you get the Crown Tower down. So right here, I've got my princess moving off to the right-hand side. Here comes his golem down the left. I lose my princess to the skeletons. A good counter there. Positive trade for my opponent, 1 versus 2. But here comes the golem, and yes, I am ready with the Inferno Tower. Now, this is a sensitive deployment, more so for the Royal Giant, obviously, that could outrange the Inferno Tower. But here, he doesn't drop any other troops in the area. He was expecting me to counter that golem with a bunch of little troops like these minions here. Instead, the poison spell doesn't do a great deal. I'm able to grab that musketeer, get her out of the way with the minion horde deployed just outside the range of the poison, and now I've got minions and a Hog Rider onto the tower. A little bit of damage, a good start on that left lane tower, and I've got it down to about 50%. Just a matter of trying to finish it off in the next 60 seconds. So a little princess on princess action on the right-hand side. He's got the advantage. He gets my princess and some hit points off that tower. But we are down to double elixir, and here comes another golem. Will he do better at protecting it this time? I'm trying to counter with these little units. I don't have the zap spell up yet. The Hog Rider is going to go in and just try to keep the pressure on him. He does drop the Mini P.E.K.K.A in there. It's going to get overwhelmed by the small units. That works out well. Hog Rider gets the tower down to under 1,000. Here comes the Inferno Tower. And again, not really much protecting that golem. We are going to be able to burn it down. This time, his poison spell and princess do the job, get my minions out of the way, and I am going to take a lot of damage on that left lane tower. And again, keeping the pressure on, he drops another golem, but yet again, I am able to drop the Inferno Tower and get it to lock onto the golem right away. Nobody else to distract it or otherwise take its focus away. And the golemites easily dealt with by the towers. I try to make another hog push right here. This is way too early. The musketeer is still up. The cannon we knew was in the rotation. That hog is not going to get anything done. And this minion horde, really just to stop the musketeer, it's going to go down as well. The princess on the defense. And we have less than 45 seconds left in this battle. And here comes another golem. Again, we're going to counter with the Inferno Tower. My opponent not dropping anything to counter that Inferno. The musketeer up there is not going to get through the Inferno fast enough to stop me from getting through the dangerous part of the golem. The tower, everything else deals with the golemites. And again, here comes the Hog Rider. And this time, the minions help me get that cannon out of the way. The Hog Rider gets to the tower. Zap spell stops the tower, and that is going to give the hog what he needed to get that tower down. And there's the win, 1 crown to 0. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the level 9 gameplay using this same deck. So I've got my level 9 account here, and I'm facing another level 9 player. Exact same deck as before, and it seems to be working pretty well. Now, this account is right around 3,000 trophies. And while the decks I'm facing are a little more diverse than, say, up at 4,000, we are still seeing a lot of Royal Giants, and there is a Royal Giant in my opponent's deck in addition to the Goblin Barrel and the Bomb Tower. And that's usually one thing you can almost always count on, is your opponent is going to have at least one big, heavy tank, high elixir cost card. It's going to be a Royal Giant, a Giant, maybe it might be a P.E.K.K.A, or of course the Golem. Occasionally, again, we're facing the Hog Cycle decks, and that is the Achilles heel of the Galadeck. And let me go ahead and take this opportunity to give you guys my Gala prediction of the coming update or balance changes that have not been announced yet. I don't know when they're coming, but I feel like when they do, we might see the Royal Giant, Hog Rider, and Princess brought into balance one way or another. Now, not necessarily a direct nerf, although the Royal Giant, I hate that card. I feel like it's a mortar on wheels. People just drop it down and it goes to work on the tower. But I have to tell you, when it comes to balance changes, I am not a big fan of a straight out nerf. I would rather see a balance by maybe other cards becoming stronger, or even better, how about bringing in new cards that have new mechanics that can help bring these other cards into check? Whether it be something that directly counters that card, or maybe something else that's equally strong that people will use instead, and that makes the game a little more unpredictable, and I believe that is exactly where we are headed. As Clash Royale grows as a game, we will obviously see new cards added, maybe not every single update, but frequently, and between new cards that are useful and strong, and balancing keeping other cards in check, I am hoping for long term to see a much more diverse array of battles, and you won't be able to predict that at least a third or more of the time there will be a specific card that is going to be the anchor card in your opponent's deck. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but this game is so young. It's only a few months old, you guys. There's so much yet to come. I cannot wait. I have put my suggestion in about these tournaments. I would love to see some sort of tournament added to the game where you could have tournaments anytime you wanted. You could compete against other players in some sort of ranking tournament, maybe like 8 versus 8. I don't know, but we'll see what happens in the future. Right here, we are trying to face down another Royal Giant deck, but you can see we have a huge advantage. Only 20 hit points left on that left tower, and I choose to take it out early just because I want to have that open deployment space. If I need to drop a unit in, say, behind this Royal Giant, I could. Instead, he's going with the Royal Giant Goblin Barrel. I used the lightning spell on the Goblin Barrel, and that was a fail Inferno there, you guys. I did fail to place that Inferno accurately. That could have cost me. It was outranged by the Giant. Luckily, time was on my side, and I grabbed the 1-0 win. So there you guys go, the Galadeck in full effect, getting me to my personal best, but will it continue? I don't know. You never know with these decks. Some days it'll work great, the next day it won't. Let me know if you guys give it a try, and thank you as always for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Subscribe for daily content, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Galadeck, I'm not a fan of your What? What did I say? I said
Sorry, Peter, it's just your accent makes that word sound kind of funny.
accent. Don't be ridiculous, Galadeck. I don't have an accent. Oh, come on, Galadeck. Don't be